What up? Recapping week one, Loddy's locks. If you didn't watch, I had Tyron Woodley defending his welterweight crown against Darren Till. Plus 6.5 Texans against Patriots, and the under Rams Raiders. The Texans Patriots was the pick I got wrong. No point in talking too much about the picks I got right. If you want to know what I had to say, go check it out. Did want to say one quick thing about the Woodley-Till fight. Woodley dominated, and he choked him out in the second round, but I didn't feel like the result of the fight was indicative of the difference in skill set between the two fighters. I felt like it was a difference in the psychological mindset of the two fighters, and I know I already talked about that on episode 1, Loddy's Locks, but I bring it up because I wanted to tell you guys, watch out for Darren Till because he is coming. If he decides to stay at welterweight, because he's pretty big, he might move up. But if he decides to stay at welterweight, he will run through everybody else in the division, and he will get another title shot. And if Woodley is still the champ when he does, he will win the rematch. Okay? Early edition, Loddy's Locks. All right, on to the pick I got wrong. Plus 6.5, Texans Patriots. Game ended 27-20 Patriots. If you watched my tutorial the other day, you'll know that means I lost by half a point. I hope you guys don't think I'm saying that like, oh, I was so close, just lost by half a point. A loss is a loss. The idea is that you get so good at this that when you take a team plus 6.5, they win that game, or they lose by 2 or 3 points. If it's close, that being close is really just the difference between lucky and unlucky. In this case, I was unlucky. If the Texans had lost by 6 points, I would have been lucky. Just would have been a lucky pick. When you make a good pick, you take an under 50 points, the game ends 40 points, 45 points. That's a good pick. Losing or winning by half a point is really just the difference between lucky and unlucky. So don't make excuses for yourself. If you want to get good at this, you accept it when you lose and you learn from your mistakes. And the mistakes that I made, unfortunately, I kind of mentioned in each of my last 2 videos. At the beginning of episode 1 of Loddy's Locks, I said I don't like making picks week 1 because you don't know what you're getting. Patriots defense last year was ranked 29th of 32 teams in the NFL. They were ranked 29th. Right now, it's only been one game. Right now, they're ranked 11th. They gave up 366 yards per game last season. They only gave up 320 on Sunday. Don't sleep on those 40 yards because those 40 yards is the difference between a field goal. And a field goal was all I lost by. So, it is a big deal because the Patriots defense this season has vastly improved. And I know that now because I watched week 1. And we still see where they're at exactly because it was still only week 1. Like I said in episode 1 of Loddy's Locks, by week 3, by week 4, you'll get a good idea. Maybe next week the Patriots are terrible defensively. We still don't know where they're at. But I assumed that because they were so bad last year, that they would be bad again this year. And so far, not the case. Other part of the equation that I got wrong was as far as staying in line with the concept of trying to avoid betting on week 1 of the NFL season is the play of Deshaun Watson. Boy, shades of Robert Griffin III. I mean, I was like halfway through the third quarter. I'm like, this is Robert Griffin III all over again. Then he started to make some things happen. Even if he had played bad the entire game, I wouldn't have jumped to the conclusion that this is Robert Griffin III all over again. But it definitely left me feeling optimistic, seeing him doing things with his arm, especially seeing him doing things with his legs, because that's what you worry about the most when somebody comes back from a torn ACL, is the athleticism. He's doing things with his legs, doing things with his arms, but boy, in the first half, he was missing receivers all over the place, throwing high, throwing low. He looked terrible. Hopefully it was just rust. Hopefully he bounces back. But, these are the kinds of things that you don't know until you start watching some of the games. And hopefully that's a mistake you guys won't make. Try to avoid making bets week 1 NFL season. Okay, the other one I mentioned in the tutorial, not in Loddy's Locks. on my tutorial, I said don't bet until the last possible moment. Why? Because you might wake up that day and find out that star player of the team that you bet on is injured. And I mentioned this guy by name in Loddy's Locks. You can go watch. Will Fuller. Will Fuller didn't play, and that was big because Will Fuller is a number 2 receiver on the Texans. And if you're going to double team DeAndre Hopkins, the number 1 receiver, and you're going to leave Will Fuller with just one defensive back covering him, he's going to go to work. So that was a big factor in the game the other day. Again, not making excuses because I put in my Loddy's Locks on Friday when I should have waited until Sunday when they announced that Will Fuller wasn't playing. So, yeah, that's pretty much the recap of week 1. Lessons learned. Try to avoid betting week 1 of the NFL season and try to avoid placing a pregame bet until the very last possible moment. Hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you learned something. Adios.